get some space. Baby, give me time to think. Is you gonna be able to love? Am I gonna be able to trust you? Stuck in my feelings, yeah. Head over heart, lying in the dark, trying to make sense of it. Is you gonna be inside my bed? Thoughts of you stuck in my head. When I know this shit ain't going nowhere, know this shit will never be fair. Loving you is complicated, trusting you is just a maybe. I wanna leave you but I can't stop. Another nigga taking my spot. Wanting you is breaking my heart. It's something about you. Something about you, baby. I want you. Something about you. Something about you, baby. You got me questioning if it's worth it. Damn, this shit just ain't working. First we're breaking up, then you call me up, falling back in love. I just don't understand. How can we do this shit over again? And just cause I love you and you love me, that doesn't mean that we're meant to be. Hold my heart and not break it. I'm thinking I got yours, but the most frightening thing is, baby, I know this shit ain't going nowhere. I know that this will never be fair. I wanna leave you, but I can't stop. Wanting you is breaking my heart. It's something about you. Something about you, baby. I want you. Something about you. Oh, darling. Something about you, baby. You got me. Yeah, you got me. Whoa, you got me. Oh, yeah, you got me. Oh, you got me. Whoa, you got me. Oh, you got me. Oh, darling, you got me. You got me. You got me. Whoa, you got me, baby. Something about you, baby. You got me.
That was pretty good.
All right.
Hey,
What's going on? What's going on?
I'm doing. It's been a hectic week. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm excited about today, the relationship episode
Yes,
series.
yes.
We're talking about communication.
Boy, look, today's show gonna be off the bang bang. So I hope everybody got their little pens and pens ready, and be ready to take some notes or play it back. It's gonna be a really good series today. We are gonna do some recapping, but before we get into it, I am your host Natalie, and Sion is my co-host for the relationship series. So we're super happy that you're here. Sorry that we got started a little late. We had some technical difficulties, but we here. Don't forget, follow along. We like your comments, concerns, all that in the comment section below. last week, well, the week before last. I know we didn't do a show last week because of the holiday, but we really did get into a lot of great conversation with the audience, and I really enjoyed that. So definitely do not hesitate to participate today. Let's dive into it. Glad to have you out. Super excited. This is the episode that I like to say really causes some reevaluation in any relationship. Okay, this is going to have you looking at yourself. It's going to have you looking at your partner. It's going to have you really thinking about, okay, this, because the bottom line is things can be fixable,
right?
But you're not going to know whether or not they're fixable if neither one of you can communicate appropriately. So communication is really the most important thing in any relationship. It is the most important aspect because we're all social beings and we can't be social without communication. So this is the glue, the most important foundation, and something that you have to have constantly going on, even in a long-term relationship.
Right.
So we're going to get into that. But before we do, those of you who have been with us since the beginning, or maybe you had to go back and you had to catch up, and I thought that I had that. You had to catch up. I hope you have caught up.
Right.
If you didn't do episode 1, you really need to watch it so that you understand where you fall, what you're looking for. Understand if you're in a situationship or if you're in a casual relationship. Really find out where you are currently. If you're not dating or you're not in any of those, just really think about where you want to be based on what we talked about. Right. And then for those of you that were here for week 2, for episode 2, relationships, the boundaries, standards, and boundaries.
Oh yeah.
Now the first one that we did, okay, in a relation with in the standards and boundaries was a 2-part homework assignment.
Right.
So we're gonna kind of go over that right quick before I dive in, and I'm gonna explain to you why. But if you did your homework, and I have to go down because my homework assignments are not aligned the same way. So the homework assignment says, what does your standard list say about you?
Right.
Are they true to your beliefs, morals, and values? If so, can you implement these without wavering? Right. Now, if you cannot implement them without wavering, then that means that there's something there that's not either A, true to you, or we have a communication issue in you being able to be vocal enough to communicate your standards and let them be known.
Right.
Okay. Now, again, when we talked about this in episode 2, we talked about they don't waver. They have to be consistent. Right. Because if they're not consistent, all that's going to go out the window.
Right. It ain't a standard no more at that point.
It ain't a standard. And if it ain't a standard and you say that it is, but you waver on it, they ain't going to believe you.
Right. Right.
They're not going to believe you. Okay. So think about your list. Can you be consistent in implementing them? If you can't, it has to be, we're going to find out if it's a communication issue.
Right.
So I really want people to think about that. And if anybody's done it and they want to comment below, you can go ahead and comment below before we get heavily started. Our second homework assignment for the part 2 of that, if I can, was understand that implementing boundaries are done through communication. Right. Have you been successful at being able to communicate your boundaries? If not, what has kept you from being able to communicate them successfully, or has even kept you from even attempting to communicate them? Right. Hey, girl.
Right.
So, Sai, I'm going to use you because I know you did the homework. Did you do the homework?
Right. Yeah.
In your homework assignment, what did you find for the 2 parts?
For the 2 parts, I'm not gonna waver. It's like, now if it's something that we can meet in the middle on, I'm not in a relationship, first of all, but it's like going into a relationship, right?
Right.
I have my standards coming in. Now, if it's something reasonable, I may meet in the middle, but when it comes to my standards, I'm not wavering on them. I'm not gonna waver on
Okay.
that.
Okay. And do you feel like you're in a space where you're comfortable with communicating what your standards and your boundaries are?
Right, I do, because if not, it's an expectation. If they don't know, if I don't communicate to them, I'm going in with a false expectation, and I'm holding them to a standard that they don't know what I expect. So definitely communication, definitely don't have a problem like letting them know my standards and stuff like that.
Okay, great, great. So just everybody keep in mind your homework assignment. And think about what you wrote down, because this is really for you.
Right.
And like I said, if you do the homework assignments like you're supposed to, you'll start to see at the end of the series, okay, where you were, where you're trying to go, and now you have the tools to be able to improve in these different categories that are going to be really important for the overall healthiness of your relationship.
Right.
Okay. So here we go. Let me pull this up. All right. So here we are. Okay. This is going to be a lot. So I need everybody to bear with me.
Right.
I need everybody to go ahead and just, take a deep breath. Because it's going to be some things that you're going to learn about yourself. And believe it or not, when I took my communication course, they make you go through it when you're going through your master's program. They make you do these therapy sessions and all that. Believe me, there was a lot of things that I thought that I had done appropriately or were doing appropriately that I found out that I need to work on that. Because you'll hear people tell that to you. But a lot of times we're not open to corrective criticism. We take it as somebody trying to attack us personally. We have to remove that barrier, especially when we're in relationships. We have to remind ourselves that people that we're in the relationship with should be able to be honest with us about what they think is a breakdown that's affecting them.
Right.
And if we're not open to hearing that, then that's also going to cause a conflict. Okay. But how we communicate is the most important aspect of communication. A lot of us think that we communicate well, but do we really do that?
Right.
Because we hear ourselves, but we don't really hear ourselves.
Right.
As someone else would. Okay, so we're gonna get going. Y'all know I gotta veer over here and look at my notes a little bit, so bear with me as I'm breaking eye contact. So why is communication the most imperative aspect of a relationship? In relationships, communication allows you to explain to someone else, what you are experiencing and what your needs are. Wow. The act of communicating not only helps to meet your needs, it also helps in aiding in addressing the issues so that they don't build or create additional issues in your relationship. It also helps you to stay connected.
Staying connected.
And we talked about that a little bit last episode when we were prepping to move forward to this series. I said sometimes, couples will get into these arguments, but you're not arguing about what you're really mad about.
Right.
You brought up things that happened 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, because you never communicated. So you've been always you're used to sweeping it under the rug. So what happens is now you have a breakdown. You're building resentment and anger, and they don't know about it. But they're going to know about it once you finally blow your lid.
Right. Your actions start changing as well. You start getting more snappy, not doing the things you used to do in the beginning.
Right. But you don't know how easy of a fix it could have been, but we assume a lot of times. But we'll get into that assumption a little bit later, and I'll tell people why that happens. But people say all the time that communication is vital to a healthy relationship. What they don't tell you is why. Okay. How many things hinge on you and your partner being able to say what you mean to each other, how it affects your mood, your love for each other, and even your day-to-day stress levels. So kind of going back to that thing, we're not saying that I'm sweeping it under the rug. Your mood done been changed. You acting funny. You acting distant. They know something's off, especially if you've been with someone for a while.
Right. You can tell.
If we're past the dating phase, you know, you start to learn someone and their mannerisms and just their body language. So you can tell when something's off, but a lot of times there's nothing wrong. You know, I don't want to talk about it, or that's not the appropriate response to have.
Right.
There's a way to communicate that, and we'll get into that as we go a little further down. But really do not allow yourself to sweep things under the rug. And I really hope that this communication really helps people get some insight to where their partner's communication level is, to where their communication level is, and how both of you need to get into a healthy communication pattern,
right,
to be able to communicate effectively. So before we get into the communication styles, what we are going to get into is we're going to get into the 7 steps of understanding the importance of healthy communication in a relationship. So there are 7 steps.
right.
Okay. So the first one is it helps to strengthen respect.
Respect.
Now, we all know that we want to be respected in a relationship.
Gotta be. Right.
Everybody, you're going to respect me, you know, but respect goes both ways.
Go both ways.
It goes both ways. You can't get it without giving. You know what I'm saying? So effective communication for a couple, between a couple, or another close relationship, it allows both parties to develop respect for one another when they communicate appropriately.
Right.
The idea is simple. It's simple. People are empathetic naturally towards one another. They can understand on a very subtle level when something is off or something is wrong.
Right.
Now, just stated that. We can tell.
You can tell. You can definitely tell.
I know my husband can tell. I mean, he what's wrong with you? You know, and I say the same thing too. I can tell, but you not only, but the longer you've been with someone too, you can kind of tell more in depth of what's wrong with a person, because like I know what certain faces or body language, I can almost tell where that guideline falls. I can tell if it was something at work. I can tell if it was something here. You know what I'm saying? So you start to learn each other, and how to really navigate that and how to be supportive and kind of open that conversation up and say, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, you want to talk about it? You know,
Right.
I'm always, I believe in trying to have that comforting, soft approach with people sometimes, because you just don't know where the level of 10 or 5, where they're at, whatever happened on that day. So don't, and then that's another thing too, when we're communicating with people, we don't want to, when they vent or are frustrated, we want to adopt that. And now we're matching their energy with our energy. And it's like, well, first of all, they on 10. Why? How would you get on 10?
Right.
You
It
know,
happens, it happens. Don't bring no attitude to me. You give me attitude, you about to get some attitude. What's going on with that?
but a lot of times people aren't listening to what it really is.
Right.
And it's the natural defense mechanism kicking in. And that's a barrier. Okay. So communicating regularly and appropriately is a sign of a healthy relationship.
Right.
So this is something that I like to tell for my couples who've been together or are together. If you're in a relationship, this is past the dating phase right quick. If you're in a relationship, try to schedule a 30-minute session every day for you and your partner to sit down. No phones, no nothing, just 30 minutes. It's just 30 minutes. Sit down for 30 minutes and have a conversation. If that needs to happen after your children go to bed, or, you know, but it's something that you should be able to do face to face. Long-term distance, you know, long distance couples, I know that might be a barrier for some of you.
Right.
So if you can, but turn the TV off. If you got to do it over the phone, maybe you can do it on FaceTime so you can see each other, because you want that to be an intimate moment. And you want to just take that 30 minutes to just talk, period. You know, how are you? How's your day? How are you feeling? You know, what have you been working on lately? You know, have you been working on any of your goals? You know, what's the progress with that? It's just an opportunity to have an in-depth conversation about each other, sharing things with each other about what's going on in your lives and what's, you know, what's new, what's updated. Because I know that we all have busy lives. We all work. Some of us have children. You know, you got a lot going on. But you need to really try to schedule that 30 minutes a day. And I learned that from my therapist.
Right.
30 minutes. All it takes is 30 minutes. And if you can't block out 30 minutes a day for your partner, you really need to reevaluate some things that you got going on about how to make quality time so that you can at least, because it'll help you to improve your communication, especially if it's something that you're not good at. Okay. And ensure they communicate appropriately and ensure that you select the right time so that you can both have privacy. So that you can focus on the conversation. Like I said, remove devices, put your kids to bed, whatever it is that you got to do. Okay. Your partner may have insights that you're not expecting. And discussing things together and identifying solutions together and going through it together will help to strengthen your bond. It also shows them how much you respect them by being mindful about how a specific thing may affect them. And you're honest enough to include them in communicating and identifying solutions with them. Right. Failure to do this, look at my face, y'all. Failure to do this, failure will have the opposite effect. And it will cause tension and it will cause other strenuous issues to arise in your relationship. I promise you that. Now, for many people that follow me on Facebook or know me personally know that I just celebrated my 11th anniversary, my wedding anniversary. Right. But I've been with my husband for almost 14 years. Okay. Let me tell y'all something. Failure to communicate and include people, include your partner is a problem. You know, there's that saying, yeah, I got my girlfriends and guys got their guy friends. And yeah, we talk to our friends about things that are going on, right? But when it's a situation that's going to affect your household or affect your relationship, don't always run and get advice from one of them and take their advice as sound before you have a conversation with that other person. We got to remind ourselves that we want to get advice from people that are non-biased sometimes, and that we want to be guided in a direction that's going to help the growth of their relationship, of your relationship. Right. Someone that's going to support that and not hinder that. So if it's something financial, you don't just say, oh, well, you know, I'm going to go handle it myself. Right. Or, you know, this broke, but I ain't going to say nothing. Or I overspent this money here, but I know this money got to go here, but I ain't going to say nothing. Now you don't say nothing. How does that affect the relationship when you chose not to communicate?
It just make it worse.
Or it's just like, you know, somebody's got to come stay with you, for example, you know, for a couple of days or maybe a week. And you're like, yeah, okay, it's not an issue. And then your partner looking at you like, well, what's going on? You didn't tell me nothing. I thought I had made secret plans or, you know, special plans, and you didn't. So it's just, you just really got to communicate and be mindful of each other because you share a space, you share a life. And as you're trying to build that unity to be one, you always have to be mindful that they need to constantly be in the loop. Right. And that's how you build respect.
That's how you build respect. I think Prince had a song back in the day. He said Prince was frustrated. He was a frustrated partner when he made this song. The name of the song is If I Was Your Girlfriend. If I was your girlfriend, you'd tell me them secrets. If I was your girlfriend, you'd be close to me. Prince was a frustrated partner when he made that song right there. That's one of my jams right there. But yo, that's what he was talking about. The same as that.
But he was. But you know what? Because girlfriends, you know, and I know guys, you know, guys have their little packs and whatnot. But when you got good girlfriends, boy, let me tell you something. Any woman that's watching this show now, know if you got good girlfriends, honey. Because usually you got girlfriends that have been through different things at different stages, just like with guys. They've got friends that have been through different stages of different, various aspects of their relationship. So you naturally want to consult, because it's also a personal thing for some people. You don't just want anybody to know. You want to talk to somebody that you're comfortable with about what's going on.
Right.
And in doing that, I think sometimes it's just easier to gravitate, to someone that you're comfortable with. But at the same time, I think that you also have to, maybe listen to what they're telling you, but also kind of read in between the lines of that and see how to expound that or make that greater. Because someone that really cares about you and really cares about your relationship is going to tell you some good sound advice.
Right.
When I'm kind of a stickler, if I got to go get therapy or I got to go get, if I needed to go get marital counseling, I want to get that information from someone who has a greater degree than I do.
Right.
That's just me. But if I want to go see you for marriage, well, how long you been married? Right. If you've been married 5 years, you can't tell me that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I like to tell people, really, really get advice about certain things from people who have been in that particular area, but have surpassed that now at a different stage in their lives. So if I'm going to go get counseling or we're going to go see somebody for marital counseling, I want to see somebody that's been, married for 25 years. Right. At least have 10 more years on me than what I got. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I want you to have a degree higher than mine. And I want to know how long you've been in the field and how long you've been doing this, because your success rate and your knowledge matters to me, because it's not all textbook. And I need people to understand that when you talk about go see a therapist, it's not all textbook. It's also experience for them, their life experience, and so many other factors of how we take that knowledge and how we perceive it and how we project that out when we're giving people sessions. So that's just a sidebar. But communication also takes out the guesswork. We're not mind readers. I know men sometimes love to think that we are, but we ain't mind readers just as much as men will let us know that they ain't mind readers either. Right. I expected you to have known that that's what I wanted to do, or I expected by my body language that you knew that that's what was going on. No, right. I didn't. So communication takes out the guesswork. If you tell the truth, keyword, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Because the truth is the truth. This is one of the biggest benefits of honest communication in a relationship. Is honesty, honest communication, always being honest. Being honest. There is no guesswork. Go ahead.
No, that's a fact right there. Now I'm laughing because when we be talking, my mind be all over the place. I seen a meme, another prime example of guesswork, right? So I seen a meme, right? So it said it was something about the guys playing a video game, right? Girl, she dresses up, gets sexy. She wants some intimate time. So she gets sexy, stands in front of the TV. His response is, if you don't go sit your stupid ass down. The guesswork. She thought one thing. His response was something totally different. But it's like, again, it's like he's looking like, I'm trying to play the game. Why are you standing up there? She's looking. Well, obviously they got disrespect going on. If he called her that and said that, a lot of disrespect going on already. Right. But she's thinking, okay, I'm trying to spice it up. I'm gonna get sexy. He's gonna get the hint. They didn't have a communication about it, and it went left field. A lot of times in relationships, like you said, it's like when you leave it out, they're guessing like, yo, they're gonna know, and now you're crushed because they didn't. Right. It's like because you messed up already by not telling them. It's like we go in like it's like they say no plan is planning to fail. So it's like without communication and you go in, now you're crushed on the other side. It's like you brought it on yourself. So yeah, it's just like while you were saying that, I'm thinking about the meme I read earlier because it tickled me about 5 minutes. I was laughing at the thing because it's like he's probably thinking I'm just trying to play the game, but I can just imagine it's like a guy. He's trying to get sexy or whatever. You know what I mean? He's trying to spend some time with his lady. Mm-hmm. And then he comes in there and she's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you know, sit the hell down somewhere. That's got to be crushing to somebody's esteem. But again, it's like you said, the guesswork and poor communicating, people get hurt. Right. So that's all I was going to add.
I'm not going to ruin my next episode because our next episode is actually sex, love, and intimacy. So I'm not going to ruin the next episode for y'all. But Sion always managed to hit the next episode right on the head when we get there. But wow. I will say this. Intimacy, people don't believe that it's a communication phase. Usually in the beginning of relationships, I will say your sexual intimacy, because sexual intimacy and intimacy are two different things. We're just going to, and we'll talk about that next week. But sexual intimacy changes the longer you've been with a person. Right. And everybody's crosshairs do not align. But the longer you've been together, the more you start to see that, versus when you first getting together, you like some jackrabbit.
Right.
It changed. It changed.
That's that new car. You know how it is.
And but communication period around sex should be something that should be happening within your relationship, because you'll start to see whose frequency is more is higher, whose drive is high, who has more. I want more frequency, where someone else may be like, I want to do it, just not, because I got so many other things going on, like, between work and, working out and, we got kids and, we got, so you really got to have a conversation about that. But it does remove the guesswork when you have a conversation. Right. Sex and desire is different than sex and expectation. Don't put that expectation on nobody. Right. But I ain't gonna ruin I'm not gonna ruin next week for y'all. I'm not gonna ruin next week for y'all. In order to have a healthy connection with someone, you cannot build on withholding things from them. Right. And trying to remember all the little white lies that you told along the way. Because every time you tell a lie, you got to tell another lie to tell that lie. And then the lies just keep piling. So one day you slip up, you think you got it down pat. Because you know about pathological liars. Right. They believe the lies they tell. Now, pathological lies can be really, really good at lying to a certain extent. Right. But when you lie, it don't make you feel good. It don't make you feel good at all. It cuts right into that. And when your partner finds out that you've lied to them, the damage that you've done on your trust. And we all know that we can say it takes years to build it. It takes seconds to bring it to its knees. And once you damage trust, you spend a lot of time trying to recreate that or rebuild that. And you can't be mad when it's not on your terms, because you created that. And people have lost trust over a lot of things, whether it be infidelity, whether it be, financial, the list goes on. But most of the time you see a lot of lies told around infidelity and money. Two things. I don't know what it is, but I always like to say, if you was communicating in the first place, you wouldn't have got to infidelity. We'll save that one for next week. But there's just food for thought on that one. But learning how to effectively communicate and being comfortable and being honest means that your relationship becomes simpler. Again, removing the stress from both partners and ultimately leading to a happier, healthier relationship. If you're going to be in a relationship with this individual, or if you're in a relationship, you share the most intimate details of your lives with a person. You live together, you eat together, you sleep next to each other, you raise children together, you put money in a joint account together, you plan for your future together. If you can do all of these things together as one unit, You should be able to be honest with each other no matter what.
No matter what.
Relationships can't grow without a little bit of struggle, without a little bit of things that you, but that's the part of relationships and you being two individually different people trying to be a unit.
Right.
It's not expected to be an easy thing. But if you do your part and you are honest in every step of the way, and even though sometimes we hurt each other's feelings, but we're being honest, that's there to help you.
Right.
So you really got to check yourself individually. If you can't handle somebody else, if you can't handle the truth, that's something that you need to work on about yourself. As why can't I accept corrective criticism? Why, when I hear this, does this bother me? Why am I making it? You know what I'm saying? You really need to check yourself.
Right.
But then the person who's communicating it also needs to do so in a respectful way.
Right.
Okay. Also, it helps to avoid misunderstanding. That's number 3.
Misunderstanding.
We have to go ahead.
No, I was just saying misunderstandings can ruin everything. Misunderstanding can be something that small turn into, and people 30 years later, you said this, well, I know I didn't, and they done change the story. They done, it ain't even go down like that. 20 years later, they still mad, and they believe that's what happened.
That's what happened. That's what happened. Misunderstandings is boy. I've seen it. I've been on one end of those. Like, no, look, it'll mess you up. It'll mess you up. So we have to realize, we have got to realize that every relationship is made up of two unique people. And we all have our good and bad days. Okay. There are times when we may miscommunicate, or we forgot to tell each other important things or reminders, and this can cause tension or strain in a relationship. I know, for an example, in my relationship with my husband, honey, if I forget to tell him something that was important, it's gonna throw him off because his day, the way his schedule goes. Right. So it throws him through a loop. Well, you couldn't have told me that too. Well, I had forgot. So I've had to learn to make sure that I'm using calendars, and we family sharing the calendar, so the calendar gets to everybody's phone, so everybody's aware of what's on the schedule, because that can throw people off. Right. Or it can make somebody feel like you just did it on purpose. Because I know sometimes my husband's like, oh, you just added that. No, I didn't. It's been there. I promise it's been there. No, it hasn't. I didn't know it was there. I forgot to send it to you. That's why you didn't know that it was there. So just be mindful of that when you have a family, right, or you got important things. It could be, you scheduled dinner with your parents. You can't spring it on nobody last minute. Now, if they forgot,
that's a whole nother ballgame.
I say, oh, well, I'm so sorry for you. You forgetting doesn't get you up out of this, okay? Right. But communicate. And if you do got phones, you got the same type of phone, you guys can, share. If you share an email, I know my family, we have a family email. So all the important stuff goes to that email. So when I send reminders to the calendar, it goes also to each other's phone calendars, but it also goes to our family email calendar. So that way we're all in the loop, right, about what's going on. That may help if it's something important like, scheduling. Right. But communication helps to prevent miscommunication. Right. If you do it regularly, this prevents this. If you're doing your 30 minutes,
you good.
Right. Because 30 minutes every day of nothing but just communicating, and it's silent, and ain't no phones, ain't no distractions, you're going to find that you're talking about a whole lot of stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I wanted to remind you, hey, you got a pen, you got write this down, make sure you put this in your calendar. Or, oh, I'll send this to your calendar when we get done, because I really want to make sure that you don't forget this, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But communication really does help to prevent miscommunication. When we express ourselves to the people that we love and care about, fewer things go unsaid. If I'm constantly telling, go ahead.
No, you got. I was gonna say, I wish I would have. A lot of people, those syndromes. I wish I would have said this. If I could have just said that, it's too late. A lot of things unsaid. But yeah, you got.
You know, I like to say it about the breakup phase of a relationship. You ever see the breakup phase of a relationship, y'all? If anybody's here on this watching live, just go ahead and say yes. But has anybody ever been in a situation where the breakup or the end of a relationship is happening, and then everybody got something they want to say? Well, you know, I would just you, and it's like everything that you needed to hear or everything that you wanted to hear, all that stuff is just now coming to the light, and it's like, let me give you the whole 2-hour conversation of everything, and it's like, I'm over that. Where was that? Where was that when I needed that?
Right.
What you want to lay it on thick because somebody about to walk out the door. Communication don't work when we getting ready to break up.
Right.
Because when it got to the end of the edge where it don't work.
Right. It's too late.
But a lot of people get sucked into that.
Right.
A lot of people do get sucked into that. And sometimes it's like that last burst of communication makes them think that communication is going to change moving forward. And it doesn't. Look, but girl, no, she know now, we know. They out here, honey.
Oh, man. That's real, though. That's real facts.
But if you were doing this throughout the relationship with constant communication,
right,
you would never be guessing. Again, you wouldn't have the guesswork is cut out. There wouldn't be any miscommunication. You would know where each other stands, how each other feels, what each other wants, what each other needs. You know what I'm saying? Goals that we're working on, all that stuff would be expressed.
Right.
So you wouldn't be in a situation where you would have to constantly be second guessing or wondering about, well, are they going to say, or are they not going to say, or, you know,
right, in the dark.
In the dark. Right. So, we want to also point out that the people we love come to expect the truth from us. Right. They expect to hear the truth from us. Right. They also, because here's the thing, when they expect the truth from us, it also helps them to learn and understand how to communicate effectively with us.
Right.
And salute. Thank you for joining the show. Or if you've been watching, thanks for watching. And actively listen to one another. Okay, so when we're effectively learning to communicate with each other and we're learning to actively listen to one another, we remove the pressure and become less worried about saying the wrong things. This produces a healthier relationship.
Right.
So when I say actively listen, anybody who knows me sometimes will know. Right. You want to tell your whole entire life story. Baby don't want to hear that. Baby don't want to hear that.
Too late.
Too late. But that's what it be like too. You remember when you was kids, you said, that's what they like. You just tuning them out. You just tuning them out. I remember being a kid and doing that to people a lot, and just it's not nice, but say I don't.
I think Mr. Big said, hit the streets, your ass is grass.
Look, so the Isley brothers not the Isley brothers.
That's what he said. That's what he told her. He said, hit the streets, your ass is grass. It's too late.
That's it.
Yeah.
But that's the song. Do I love the Isley brothers? Now don't take me back.
And that's the same one. That's the same
one. Okay. But the reality of it is that, you know what I'm saying? It removes pressure. It removes pressure. And everybody knows about pressure in a relationship or feeling like you're under some kind of pressure. Even when you're dating, you feel like you're under this pressure because you're wearing a mask to a certain extent when you're dating, right? So, you know, you automatically feel this pressure to be the perfect individual, to present yourself perfectly and to, you know, be all the things that they want you to be. Be you, number one, be you, but be honest. Communicate honestly. Tell the truth. Remove pressure from yourself. Because if somebody doesn't accept you for who you are and where you are, then you dodged a bullet anyway. We can't force fit anything to force fit. If it don't fit because it naturally fits, then that cut it out. Stop forcing it to fit. You know, we talked about last, what was it, second episode? Look, just because they got 1, 2, 3 little qualities, that ain't the bigger picture. You can say there 1, 2 qualities you got, but you talking about all the other 8 qualities ain't. That's a problem.
That's a problem. I don't know.
So communicate and listen to them, because when you listen to them, you hear a whole lot more than you realize. So you know how to know somebody's actively listening to you? They paraphrase back. I don't know if my girl Tanya's in here, but Tanya was talking about communication, you know, in our last episode, and she was like, you know, you got to communicate. But she was like, you also got to act, and I think it was for me because it was like actively listen.
Actively listen.
So when you are listening, before you speak back, a lot of times you'll paraphrase that. Right. So what you're saying is that you need more of, or I hear that, you know, you're really dissatisfied with this. Right. Or I hear that, you know, you're really excited about this new opportunity, or that you would really like to add this goal and make this goal a bigger priority over this one at this time. Right. Because couples have goals, and as couples have goals, sometimes goals shift. You know, things happen. So it might be like, oh, well, this is priority number 1 right now. We're going to move 1 to 2, but this has got to go to 1. Right. Okay, so what you're saying is we need to refocus our energy here and really focus on that. That's me paraphrasing to them that, okay, I hear what you're saying and I'm listening to you, but I'm just repeating so that I want you to know that I'm understanding correctly what it is that you're saying. Because when we paraphrase, sometimes somebody say, well, that ain't how I really meant it. Okay, well, tell me again what it is that you meant. So that way that I know that I'm being clear and understanding before I speak. So that way we're having a healthy dialogue. Right. So active listening is one of the the next most important thing in a relationship. Both of y'all can't be talking at the same time.
Wow. She's kicking it. That's real.
They do. And what they fail to realize is if your standards are in place, your boundaries are going to follow. Right. Because your boundaries are going to align with those standards. And you're going to communicate those boundaries. Right. And that's going to be just that. But we've got to get into this space where, and I know you're going to laugh because you laugh every time I say it. We got to stop being desperate. We've got to stop being desperate. Desperate relationships don't go well. They don't go well. Listen.
See, somebody, I just want anything to do at this point. Somebody is better than nothing. A piece of person is better than nothing.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna throw myself under the chopping block. I do it every week. So my first real relationship was about 5 years long. Right. And I found out he died. I think I brought this up before. I found out he died in 2011. Right. But I remember, you know, I knew our relationship was shaky. It wasn't shaky in the beginning, but he was different. He you know, came from a good household, was raised in a great environment. He wasn't no street dude, but the problem was he wanted to be a street dude. He wanted to be everything that the music had implied that it was. You know, you listen to Jay-Z, the Blueprint, you think you're out here doing it, you know. Got hooked up with some people he probably shouldn't have got hooked up with. And in that process, he was doing some things that he shouldn't have been doing. And a lot of infidelity was taking place. And I remember when the girl got pregnant and I found out at a family funeral that the girl was pregnant. You know, I didn't showed up with his family. He didn't showed up with the girl. We didn't had a conversation that morning. gonna meet me there.
Right.
But you show up and everybody's just because nobody knows. Like nobody, this is how I had to find out.
Right.
So, but I remember really trying to go, I was young. So I remember really trying to go through this process in my brain, like, and I was that girl that was like, okay, well, she don't look better than me. Boy, you couldn't tell me she did. I'm sorry. You just couldn't tell me that she did.
Right.
So, you're going through all these things in your mind.
Right.
She don't look better than me. She ain't got as much education. I'm going down my list, trying to figure out, what it is, trying to self-compare, which we should never do. We've talked about that. We should never do. And I remember being so hurt about it, but also wanting desperately to try to fix that.
Right.
And I remember when I finally got over it though, and like I was able to look back,
right,
because he came back.
right,
Of course, they always come back at some point, right?
right,
But I remember looking at him in a different light.
right.
And I remember just being like, there's no way on God's green earth we ever gonna get back together. Like, I don't even know who you are as a person.
Right.
Like, the life that you've created for yourself, the whole nine.
Right. Who is this?
But I'm just saying, I remember going through that phase where I was like, well, how do I fix it? But as we get older, and that's the one thing about standards and boundaries that we probably didn't clarify, and maybe it's heavy. As you get older, they will change.
Right.
They will change because your priorities change. You evolve, you grow, you change. But usually once you get to a certain age, you're pretty much set in stone about what you want and where you're trying to go.
Right.
So if you ain't like 19 now and this is your goals versus when you're 30, but if you in your 30s, you're pretty much solid moving forward about what's going on in your life. But yes, don't ever become desperate about, anybody, and, be comfortable in being able to be by yourself if need to be. I don't know what it is with you and this love music.
He's manifesting.
I think he putting it into the universe, and I don't blame. Hey, put it out there. Put it. Let God know what you want. God say He got you, but it's on His time and not yours. But don't be desperate enough for anybody. Don't do it. And your boundaries and your standards need to be set, and you need to be comfortable with them before you jump yourself out here into dating. And you also need to understand that in relationships that are full-blown relationships, 10, 12, 14, 20, 30 years still have boundaries. So don't think that once you're in a relationship, boundaries go out the window, because they don't. But we'll talk about that again in the next episode. Trying to not give out my next episode stuff.
Right.
What was you gonna say, Si? Because it looked like you was gonna say something.
Oh man, there's so much I want to say. It was like, first of all, when it comes to the infidelity, it's universal, right?
Right.
That's the first thing. Infidelity happens. What is it about us? I want to see who it is.
Infidelity happens for various reasons, and a lot of times men and women have different reasons as to why they choose to be unfaithful. Believe it or not. For women, it usually is a part of intimacy that they're missing, and it's usually not the sexual intimacy that women are missing. But I'm not going to give side. I'm not going to let you take this episode. We're not bringing episode forward, but I will answer this though. But women and men are very different into why they have infidelity. Because we're hardwired very differently. With that being said, women do require a different desire of intimacy, and understanding the different layers of intimacy and how women operate emotionally and mentally versus where men are emotionally and mentally. You'll start to understand those layers and those needs and how that needs to be taken care of in order to prevent certain things. But it also requires a constant flow of communication as well. Because if you can't communicate, your relationship is shot.
Right.
That's why this episode it is so important, because
Right.
I need you to understand where you're trying to go. I need you to understand where your standards and your boundaries are, and what's most important to you. What do you need? And now I need you to figure out how to communicate those things, whether you're dating or in a relationship, so that you can still get from A to B.
Right.
And have the healthy relationship that you want. Okay.
That makes sense.
But I'm gonna get you. We'll get into your infidelity next week.
No, I was gonna say, we want to know, like, when people find out they've been cheated on, they want to know, like, who is the person? Like, if they look better, does it make it less painful? What if it's an upgrade? Then it's like, now you really fall into a sucker space. It's like, yo, like, what the world? Not only did they cheat, they went up. So it's like, when we think about it like that, it's like we go through that phase. It's like, that's normal, men and women. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, we want to know. It's like, but then we were talking about the desperation part, right? When we talk about don't be desperate, right? And the telltale sign is once you start lowering your boundaries, once you start wavering your standards, you're in desperation mode. Because it's like, you want that so bad that you're willing to, like, okay, well, maybe I know what I said. Right. This might be different. That's always a red flag warning. Like, yo, I just got off the grid. So, like, from what I'm hearing, I'm doing some reflective listening back. So when it comes to my boundaries and standards, right? Don't matter how sexy she is, don't matter how good she smells. My standard is my standard. Right. So the moment I start saying, well, I can work with that, I just stepped there to desperation.
Yes.
Got it.
Because here's the thing. If you're being truthful with yourself about your standards and your boundaries, and you're actively communicating those appropriately and effectively, then they already know that they don't fit that standard. They don't fit the bill anyway. Right. But the minute that you decide to waiver that and let them in is the minute that they know that they can play all the games in the world with you that they want to. Because you don't mean what you say. Right. You got to mean what you say and say what you mean. You can't be out here playing with folks. We've already talked about snaps is real. TV shows, these crime shows is real. Don't nobody want to listen to me. But if you communicate like you're supposed to, even if somebody wants to be in a casual relationship, right? Or you want to be in those relationships that we talked about. Well, how many were there in the first one? We talked about 7.
7.
It was either.
It was 6, and then we added one in.
Okay. So we had the 6 types of relationships. If you want to be in a casual relationship, or you want to be, in any of those relationships that we talked about, then you're gonna communicate that. And I get that. Right. Everybody wants to be in love with someone. Right. We all want someone to be with that's going to. No, it's not how that works. You saw my lip go out because I'm about to be frustrated. You saw my lip go out. Look.
I mean, he's probably not the only one, though. That's what people think. He's not the only one.
No, but if you lower your standards temporarily till you think that you're going to get to a new level, see, progress is a state of mind. Right? So we ain't even got into that part of the series yet. But progress and wanting to be somewhere is a state of mind. So it's just like saying, right, okay, I'm about to break it down. It's just like saying, I'm going to run my own business. But it's going to take me about 1.5 years to really get it off the ground. Well, in that 1.5 years, you don't have time to not be lazy and work towards the business.
You got to work it.
You got to do the work. But you got to have this state of mind of being a CEO of your own business. That state of mind changes a lot of things. If you wait for you got to work your way up to the progress. But if you say, oh, well, this is where I'm at right now, so I'm just going to accept where I'm at right now, and deal with the people that are here right now, what's going to happen is you're going to invite something in that's right here, right now, that's going to have a direct effect on your long time.
Wow. Right.
Now, people don't like it when I say that, but I'm going to say it.
Keep
You
it
done
real.
had some kids out here with some people that you wish you ain't had no babies with. You see what I'm saying? But now when you make it to A to B, and now you in B, you still got pieces of A lingering over. Now, I'm not saying that people regret their children, because it's not what I'm saying. But be careful who you start attaching yourself to. So cut it out. If I have to come down there and beat you up one good time. He's talking reckless. I ain't gonna have you out here being reckless now. I love my brother, but he reckless from time to time. Gotta go and police him up. Gotta police him up, y'all. But that's for anybody though.
Right. That's a fact.
Be careful of who you letting into your circle and the people that you choosing to interact yourself with. I don't need you to be on guest mode.
Right.
At this stage of your life, you need to know. You need to know. And what are you bringing to the table? What are you doing to accommodate your goal?
Right.
Communicate that, because I need to know.
Right.
But I'm not, you got to be careful who you latching on to and what they latched on to and what that latch on is going to do to your future and where you're trying to go. And that's for anybody.
It's for anybody. It's real. You never know what baggage they bringing in, or what damage they bringing in, or past hurts or traumas or things that they just life situations that they might have to deal with that now you take on as well, right?
It is. It is. It is. I know we talked about it builds trust. I just wanted to say, I'm gonna go over this one really quickly because I know we just kind of talked about it, but I just want to reiterate these points. So in a relationship, it is both important and more than a little time consuming. Building trust is very important, but it is more than a little time consuming. It takes time to develop trust, period. As they say, and not without good reason. Okay? Without an intricate trust in the person that you're in a relationship with, you cannot let the relationship breathe enough to be able to grow. We've all been or know someone who has been in a relationship with someone they cannot trust. You on top of that person like white on rice. You want to go through the phone. They want to go through your phone. You got to know what's going on. Well, where you going? Where y'all going out tonight? Well, who going over there? You call. Well, who that in the background? Well, I thought you said you was going over there. Well, why when you left there, you ain't tell me that you went over here? So why you was over there? Who over there with you? Why you over there? You know, well, you said you was gonna be home at this time. Well, you 10 minutes late. Like, bruh. What?
Yeah, you gotta relax. That's
That
it right there. That's a deal
first
breaker.
of all,
That's a deal breaker right there. Now you got to go.
oh, I'm done with you.
Yeah,
Look, we ain't even going. We ain't going past. This is the red light. There's no green light. There's no proceed to go. We'll never go. We'll never go. This is where it dead ends for me. This is the dead end area. I need to turn around and do a Yui and get up out of here. Because that. Let me tell you something.
it's a long road right there.
I've been with my husband for a long time. If we don't play that game. I don't play that game. I can't play that game. Now, I believe that in a relationship, if my phone rings, I don't have a problem if he answers it. If I can't get to it and he's close, hey, will you get that for me?
Right.
And vice versa. I'll open that text message. You just sent me. So what is that?
Right.
That's a trust level because I don't have anything to hide in either the team. But me saying, "Ooh, who is that? What's going on? Let me see what that is." That shows that I have an insecurity.
Right.
People who want to hover you, smother you. There's an insecurity there.
Right.
That ain't got nothing to do with you.
Right.
And don't ever let nobody make you feel like you are the direct result of their insecurity.
Right.
That goes back to the whole infidelity thing.
Right.
And I'm just going to hit this as a prime example and say, if somebody stepped out on you, yeah, the natural innate thing, because we're human, we want to know what they look like, what they do for a living, how much money they making. They want to know if that person is an upgrade from them or not. Don't play that psychological game with yourself, because it doesn't do nothing but breed an insecurity for you. That it don't have no insecurity. You don't need to have that. That is a choice that they chose to make. Now, why they chose to make that choice is between you and them, that you need to have a conversation about. But that other person ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with that. Right. And that
Now, the
insecurity
person
only
that
gets
created
worse.
the infidelity needs to make a decision on whether or not they want to bounce.
Right.
If the person that they stepped out on is open to saying, okay, we found what the issue was, we're willing to resolve it, we're willing to move forward, as long as these things don't happen again.
Right.
But don't allow yourself to get insecure about things that don't have nothing to do with you. And when you get into a relationship with someone that doesn't want to let you breathe, those insecurities are going to become your problem.
Right.
Because they're going to let you know that this is what bothers me. So I'm going to constantly project that onto you. And that's a problem.
Right.
Can't have healthy like that.
Right. And it only gets worse.
Right.
Like even the other person that's trying, like this person, say you with a partner, say I'm with somebody, I'm dealing with somebody. They have insecurities, right? No infidelity, nothing like that. They're just insecure. So they smothering. Some people in the beginning, when you're younger, you're young-minded. You're not thinking long-term. Some people might think, oh, they really care about me. That's attractive. That because they concerned. It seems concerned. But when it's overwhelming, right? Now you're in a relationship. That was the warning sign. Flew by that. You know what I'm saying? We having a good time. Flew by the warning sign. Now you're in a relationship. Now they insecure. Where you at? They're showing up at the job. I just wanted to make sure you're at work. You're hanging out with the friends. They popping up. How do you know where I'm at every time? You know what I mean? But it's like now you're starting to see, whoa, you're getting a little spooked now. Like, yo, this person might be a little crazy. Right? So now you do the communication. Well, crazy, they say, well, yeah, I'm a little insecure, So now you try to be Mr. or Mrs. I can fix you. I'm gonna show you. But it's like no matter what, because like you said, the insecurity lies in them. So it's like no matter what you do,
right?
They're all until they change. You're running up a mountain that's never gonna end. It's an endless cliff. And then eventually you lose yourself.
Oh yeah.
Because now it's like, you're living to please them. I don't want to do this because this person, I don't want them to take it the wrong way. I don't want to talk like that because they may respond a different way. Now you're isolating yourself from your friends because why are y'all so close? So now you're distant. Now your family the same way. You're pulling away because it's like this person over here. Now it's became your whole world. And it's like, so now you lost yourself, you lost your foundation, boundaries and standards out the door. And now when it explodes, you have nothing. Now you're left to pick up the pieces because you didn't invest it in shaky ground.
That's right. And a lot of times, see, when we're talking about healthy people, and this goes back to our relationships and boundaries, and we were talking about healthy relationships, we were talking about how to have those, right? So in your standards and boundaries, when you start to see somebody that's insecure, again, remind yourself that if you're healthy, you aren't going to be with someone who is unhealthy. That is not rocket science. That is not me, telling you something that's outlandish, okay? If you're healthy, you don't want nothing to do with unhealthy people because they don't do nothing but breed problems for you in your for you moving forward, period. I don't care if it's a friendship, a relationship, whatever. Person who is insecure based on past experiences that has happened to them, trauma, things that have happened to them that has nothing to do with you. A person needs to go and get themselves together and be truly together before you can give a relationship what it needs to grow and prosper if you got all this baggage.
Right. That's a fact.
because you're going to give, but your giving is going to have a motivation or an intention attached to it.
Right.
Instead of you doing it because you freely wanted to do it, you're looking for a response. We talked about this. Love is a choice. You choose to love somebody every day, waking up at they good, at they bad, at they worst, whatever it is, you're making a choice to do it. What I'm not going to choose to do is I'm not going to choose to attach myself to someone who has that kind of level of insecurity. If I can't breathe, if I was that insecure, my husband would have been wrote out. The way he move and live his life, honey. What? I mean, you think about it. You know my husband, he does music.
I do. I know.
So you got to think about the kind of crowds he has to be around and artists and different people that he's had. You can't be with nobody that's insecure in that kind of business alone. Right. I mean, you're an artist. Right. And you know the industry. So I mean, you can't be with someone who can't handle you being around certain things. It's like you got to trust me.
Right. That's the thing.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's the thing. I've done it before in relationships where it's like because of insecurities, where it's like I step back altogether from music. Where it's like, because the shows or people, the fans and stuff like that. But it's like in the long run, you can't fix that person. So what I've learned is like, so now you isolate yourself from your support, your network. You're trying to, show this person, but it's like if they don't see it in you, it don't matter what you do. You could be, you can be a stay-home. You can work at a daycare from home, and they still you sleeping with the mothers, or that is, or if they're insecure, or vice versa, if it's the man that's being insecure. No matter what she's doing, you could be with, and that's 90% of your relationship is going to be that.
Oh yeah,
you could have been doing that. So as long as I'm up under, and it's like you can't breathe, you can't grow, and it becomes toxic. So it's like, and you lose yourself because now once you step away from that, now you go on a recovery. Now you're being healthy again. Now you done moved out of that situation. You turned your back on all your peoples. So it's like these close friends and stuff like that. It's like, yo, and they trying to tell you, like, yo, old girl ain't right. Or he's telling her, yo, homeboy ain't right. But because we caught up in the moment, he didn't come against my relationship. So now you burn all the bridges, all the people that care about. The same thing with family.
You know what I like to say? I like to get anybody who knows me that I've ever talked to that's a good friend of mine knows I give you the advice, and then whatever you choose to do with it, that be on you. At the end of the day, because at the end of the day, I don't have to live it.
You don't have to live it.
I don't have to live it. You know what I'm saying? But I know my own personal experiences. I know my story. I know what I've been through. I know where I'm not going back to. And I ain't going back to it to say I got somebody or not. Because let me tell you something. And I told my husband, I said, God forbid he ever take my husband before he take me. I'm never doing it again. You hear me?
It's over.
I'm gonna help everybody. I'm gonna help everybody else have.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I said, look, something happened to him, honey. So I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. That's it. That's it.
It's too much. It's a lot. People don't understand. Yeah. How long? 14 years.
Once you've done it and you had healthy and you had great and you had amazing, I would spend the rest of my life trying to find somebody to be him, and that would never happen. So I know that the shoe would never be filled, but I know who I am. So I know what I want. And I know I demand that my standards be met, period. Right. And I'm not wavering on it. I'm too grown, too old for that. Right. See, that's another thing too. You got to get to the point in your life when you get to a space where you done been through the BS. And you done been through it enough times in that cycle where something now has to change. And that's what this is about. This show is for people that are dating, who are looking for things to change. And this is for people who are in long-term relationships that are trying to figure out how to either reconnect that relationship or get it back in a healthy direction where maybe they've lost some things. Because like I said, with long-term relationships, it's work. You don't just, oh, we together. Oh, we got married. Oh, we got, no, there's work in this thing here. And I wouldn't tell you guys things that I firmly myself wouldn't do or don't believe in.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But understand that communication really does build the trust, because if you're talking like you're supposed to and you're doing these things, you're communicating, you're going to learn things, you're going to see things. This is where everything comes from. It's from here.
Right.
If they say it but it don't match up with action. Because a lot of people talk real good.
Let's get real.
Change, amen. And change can't be for nobody but you.
For you.
Because when you change for other people and they don't respond the way that you want them to, oh, baby, let me tell you something. Not only is you going to be hot that they didn't respond the way you wanted them to, but they're going to resent you. And if anybody's ever been in a relationship with somebody that's very resentful, let me tell you something. That there is an ugly, ugly thing to deal with. It's very ugly. It's very nasty. Listen, just listen. We're gonna get. I need y'all to work with me. I'm really trying. I'm trying to save lives here. I'm trying to save lives.
It's real, right? It's real right now. You know you be bringing it out of me. It's a lyric that just came to my head when you said that. All the while I was loving you, you was busy loving yourself. 11 years. And you can leave me at the drop of a dime?
At the drop of a dime?
My tit. Mary was in a bad space when she wrote that song right there. Like, yo, I know I didn't sacrifice. I know I didn't change.
Hey, I wanted to know that song about Casey. I don't know how long her and Casey was really together, but I know that relationship was toxic, honey. It was a bad one, baby. It was bad.
When she hit that 11 years, you can feel that. She said 11 years out of my life. You can leave me at the drop of a dime?
That was that liquor and that coke that had them toxic. That's like a Tina Turner and Ike right there. And both of that coke and that liquor, boy, hey, you out there.
That's real, but we talking real, yo. That resentment comes in from stuff like that, sacrificing for somebody else, all of that.
But you got to think, how did we get there off of the assumption of something? Somebody's not communicating or letting someone else communicate, or they're not actively listening to the other person who's communicating. Because if you're actually doing it and you're doing it effectively and appropriately, you will hear and you will learn and you will be able to see. Communication in a dating aspect is hugely important because it saves you the time.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you so very much. I do appreciate that. But you would have to, you know what I'm saying? If you're communicating the standards, you're communicating the boundaries, you're being a great communicator, period, it's going to show you everything you need to know. And when we get into communication styles, because we're almost there, you're going to be able to see where you fall, where you need to improve at, the type of people that you've been dating and how they communicate, or if you're in a relationship, where the breakdown in communication is between you and your spouse, or how you can improve that a little bit. So that's really the goal. Right. That's the goal. But understanding the true communication, it does build trust. Because if you're doing it appropriately, right? Let me get my little thing to work here because this is going to be a little slow. So if we're doing it right, it helps to strengthen respect. Right. It takes out the guesswork. It helps us to avoid miscommunication, and it also helps to build trust. Right. So you got to think about all these things that communicating is really doing for you in a relationship. Whether it's a relationship with your kids, again, you're dating, friendships, relationships with your significant other, your husband, your wife, your partner, whatever. This kind of work is the big part of why so many relationships fail in the long run. Both partners have to be consistently and constantly open with one another, communicating honestly all of the time. Better communication between you and your partner leads to more trust in each other, which leads to more confidence in the relationship.
Right.
So if my husband tells me, you know China, right? You know China.
I know China.
China does photos, right?
Yeah, 2Ds, Diamond District, China, man.
And boy, let me tell you something. That boy there can shoot some photos. You hear
He
me?
can.
That boy there is good with a camera. Okay. But I remember when China started Diamond District.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. What's
up with that?
It's live. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
It didn't take away from his work.
Right. But it was a lot. It was a bit much.
It was right. But then I also had to ask myself, well, you know what? These are the shoots these girls want to take too.
Right.
You know, you're thinking about social media land, the industry where we're getting
right.
the era that we're in. So you know what I'm saying? So he was in line for what was going on, but it was still a lot.
Right.
But I had remembered, and I'll just give a prime example with this. My husband came into town. We hadn't moved back here yet. We hadn't moved back here yet. I was still getting my master's, and my husband came back into town, and just a conversation about trust. My husband came home to visit, and he was like, hey, they're doing like this party, and all the Diamond District, they're going out, and there was something in Durham or whatever, and he was like, I'm gonna go. And
right.
I could have felt some kind of way. Right. But he didn't have to tell me he was going either.
He didn't have to tell you.
He didn't have to say, oh, I'm gonna get in a limousine with all the Diamond District girls. We're gonna do this.
Right.
I'm gonna go support China. He didn't have to tell me that. But the point of it is I could have felt some kind of way about it. But why do I want to feel any kind of way about it when you're openly communicating with me something like that most women would find themselves insecure about?
Right.
See, you gotta give your partner the opportunity when they're honest with you. Okay? When someone's honest with you, understand that they're trying to be open with you and really build that trust with you. But you have some people who will say, oh, well, you just told me because you don't want me to suspect nothing. You got those types who don't want to flip that. Right. Well, they told me because, he's nice, with him telling me or she telling me, that's the perfect cover up for them to do the crime because I believe that's no.
Right. Those people, they had a problem for every solution.
Look, there are only two types of people in this world. Right. Men and women. That's it.
That's it.
That is it. There ain't nowhere to go from there. Right. It ain't nobody else to communicate with in this world. Right. You've got to have trust. You got to. And like I said, you got to re-examine too who you're going to be with. Right. Because some industries don't work for some people. Some people don't want to be with people who are in a certain type of industry. Right. It breeds too much. Maybe they just really can't handle that. Maybe they've been scarred by something like that. Right. But it's not up to the person who can't handle something to project that onto their partner to say, well, you need to give that up if you want to be with me. Now we're making people give up dreams. We're making people give up things that they shouldn't have to give up.
Wow. Definitely appreciate it. She's tagging people, so I think the people she tagging, she letting them know what's going on in the comments.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Maxine.
Thank you. So I really just encourage people to really hear people when they're honest and continue to be honest even when it is uncomfortable. Like I said, there's so many things to communicate about. We talked about that. How can you lay down with somebody that you don't know and give somebody your body, but you can't communicate with them? You don't know their last name, but they know all about you on the inside, and you know all about them and all they moves, but you can't communicate about sex.
Now we getting real.
Communication is vital.
Right.
It's the bottom line. It will do what you allow it to do if you are really willing to work it. Right. Okay? Effective communication techniques help to make you and your partner feel secure.
Right.
Without that, it would be hard for any relationship to prosper. Okay? 5, it lets partners support each other. Sometimes the best benefit in life, again, is the most simplest. Life can get difficult at times in a dozen and wonderful, unique, different ways. Okay? When life gets difficult and we're single, the result is that we usually go through that difficult time alone. Or, maybe we got friends or whatever, that we can lean on. But in a relationship, you're not alone.
Wow.
Amen. Right now. But not in a relationship. Right. The problem comes when we fail to communicate our hardships with each other. When you run into personal challenges and you need to make yourself available to your partner so that you can be there, so that your partner can be there for you, even when it doesn't even seem like it. Wow. They can offer a shoulder to lean on, which is great, but they'll also get the benefit of knowing that they were a part of your process. Part of the process. Man, look. Everybody who knows me, Sai, you know me. Wow. Yes.
Starting to walk all over again.
Look, she preaching facts on that. When you don't communicate right, or you've had breakdowns and barriers with that, it really is a walk, like learning to walk process, because you got to constantly practice that new way of communicating. And sometimes, it's like this, like a toddler, we fall. You might try to revert back. Let me get over there. Right. But you got to call, try to curve yourself back around, get over there back to where you need to be. It really is a process. It really is a process. But communicating with your partner about your challenges, your goals, things that you have, because remind yourself again, or I'm going to remind you again, that yes, when you are with someone and you become one, and I say this because when you get married. Right. Okay, when you get married, you are one. You are one before the eyes of God. Everything that you do, assets, everything you create is one. You will have a goal or goals for your marriage, but you also have individual goals. Whether that's trying to start a business or whatever it is, you're going to school. You got it gets stressful. It gets difficult. You're stressed out. You just, communicate that with your partner. Right. When I finished my master's degree, we had to write a thesis. Okay. I had already done a research paper prior to that. Right. But my thesis was about pages. Okay. And they give you a case. It's a whole long thing. And then they give you all this information, and then you got to answer all this information. I sat at the table every day for 5 days straight. I actually finished a day early, but I sat there for 5 days straight. Every book, my computers were out. I had papers out. I sat there for 12 hours every day for 5 days and wrote that paper. I took a week off of work. Right. My husband was the most supportive individual on the planet. I mean, look, he let me smoke. I smoked in the house when this was going on. This is why I used to smoke in the house.
Stressed out. You stressed out over here. Don't play with me.
Stress was not even the word. You know why I was stressed? Because they told me the thesis is how you pass the program. Right. You only get 3 chances. They said nobody in the history of the program had ever passed the first time. So I was stressed out. I'm talking about I had coffee. I'm in the kitchen. Kurt was like, get up, stretch your legs. I can't stretch my legs. Like, get up, stretch your legs. Like, he was constantly being supportive. And then I would be like, okay, well, let me tell you what I got so far. I just need you to hear it, read it. And then when the last day, I had one more day to submit it, I was done. I was at the table and I read through it, reading through it. I was correcting my errors. And then I was like, okay. And then I wanted to go through it again. And he was like, stop, submit it. And I was like, I can't. And he was like, just submit it. You've done the work. There's nothing else that you can do. I did submit it. And I did pass the first time. I was the only one in the history at that time of the program, in 2015, to actually pass on the first try. But
salute the Kerwin, salute the Cruz for saying, yo, submit it. You done did it.
Look, I salute Cruz every day for completing that program, period.
Right.
Because I worked full time and I went to school full time and I was a wife full time. But our line of communication was amazing. Right. And because of that, I got the support that I needed. And that's the point that I'm getting at. You've got to constantly be able to communicate, to have that trust, because when I trust you, I know that I can lean on you to support me, and that your support is from a real place. Right. These steps don't just miraculously pop up. They go together. But I am partially who I am today because of his ability. I always say I have the ability to walk out into the world fearlessly because I know who supports me. Right. I have the ability to be my greatest because I know who's in my corner. Now, there have been things that I have wanted to dream about that he'll be like, hey, let me go and bring you back down right quick. Let me go and bring you down. Bring you down a couple notches because you went left side with it now. You way out there. Now, I'm not saying what would happen, but we're not there yet. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's nice to be able to have someone to dream with and someone to build those goals with and someone who's going to support you personally in your endeavors and not just joint endeavors. And that's why you need trust and you need that support. Because if they're insecure, they're never going to trust you to grow personally and privately. That's a threat to them. Right. I need you at this level so that way you'll always need me. I'll always be able to be around. Some people are a fear of your personal growth because personal growth means that you will outgrow them. Right. My thing is, if they feel that way, you already outgrew. Because if you're communicating appropriately, they're always going to be in your future. Right. No, really. Because when I talk about my personal growth, I talk about how my personal growth is a benefit to my union. Right. It's never my personal growth and it just stops there. Because if we're two unique individuals coming together as one to be in a relationship, our relationship reaps the benefits of the individuality. But if we want to be two of the same people, there's no individuality, there's no benefit there. The relationship can't be the identity of who you are. Identity. So people that have that syndrome, the relationship is my identity. You have no standards, you have no boundaries, you have no clue to who you are as an individual. And until you understand who you are as an individual, you can't bring anything to a relationship that is going to produce healthy fruit in any capacity because you're wavering in the wind trying to figure out who you are.
You don't know who you are.
So therefore, your communication isn't going to be 100 or be able to be as honest and flowative as it should be, or really be able to have that because you don't have a clue. Right. You got some personal growing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. But you got to get, this is my thing. I don't want to be with nobody I got to fix.
You got to fix.
I don't want to fix. I don't want to fix you. I want you to come as an individual who is together, who has an idea, who knows where they want to go, who knows where they stand in their manhood, who knows who he is in Christ, who knows what kind of husband and father he's going to be. He knows how to communicate. He knows how to show up, show out, and do what it is that he needs to do, whether I'm a part of the picture or not.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we are a direct reflection of the union.
Right.
So if you don't know who you are, how do you represent the union when you go outside? I'm gonna go.
No. You know, I love it. Yo, keep it right there, yo, because people out here, they don't know. Keep it right here for a second, yo. And something just happened with the volume too. But yeah, keep it right there, because some people, they out here based in the identity on the relationship, and they don't know who they are, and damaging other people.
Right. See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, but if you're healthy, when you going through all this, you'll see where, okay, because we talked about the standards, we talked about the boundaries.
Right.
Now we're talking about the intricate part. So if you really are communicating in your dating phase process, or if you've been in a relationship with someone, say maybe you've been in there 2-3 years. Right. Sometimes you say, now you're trying to really get this communication thing popping, you're trying to really repair this thing, you're going to start to see where maybe it's crumbling at. If you can't communicate, there is nothing. Understand me. There is nothing without the communication portion. Wow. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Wow. Collaborative effort. Yeah, let's bring that one back up there right quick. On the individual level, a collaborative effort on the individual level. That's powerful, I think.
Yes, it is. It is. See, she done been did some homework and some things. That's what I'm talking about. You can tell when we've had personal growth. And when we've had personal growth and we identify, we're able to help one another be able to reach those levels in our lives, because the goal is to help people have those things that they want, those relationships, that healthiness that they desire, but to be healthy themselves. The goal is not to offend. And I tell people that all the time. And I didn't make my statement this morning, you know, when we opened the show. I don't go out my way to offend nobody. But if you get offended on accident, hey, you know.
All right now.
Look, that TV where it said, girl, I got me some right here too, girl. So communication lets your partner support you. Never be afraid to let somebody know what it is that you got going on in your life and what your goals are personally, what your dreams are, and what you're working towards. A person will show you who they are when they support what it is selflessly. Support you selflessly with nothing in return but to see you shine. That's in friendships. That's in anything. If the people in your circle do not support you individually for your efforts and what it is that you got going on and can't show up and show out for you, that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, say that one more time. Yeah, for the people in the back. Yeah, say the part of that right there. Yeah, that needs to be my slogan right there. Yeah, I might have to put that clip right there every time I start the proof. Right there. Can you say that again for the people out there?
Yeah. If the people that are in your life do not support you, so when I say support you selflessly, without looking for anything in return but to see you shine, that's a problem. Because we have got to be able to do things for others with removing ourselves from it just to be happy and supportive of someone else's growth. People who do not support us individually for our growth or what we're trying to do, they not really about you. They got some things going on about themselves, or maybe they're not where they want to be. Misery loves company. People don't like it when you growing and they not growing. But a lot of times the people who don't support you don't realize how much of a negative they are in your life until somebody does it on the flip end to them.
To them. Now they see it. A lot of times you said walking blind in it, they thinking this is just how I am, or because they're damaged.
Right. But sometimes you just you gotta know when people are damaged and cut them off anyway. Cut them off. The hashtag facts that. Cut them off. Look, we in 2021 about to go into 2022. We've been dealing with some BS for a minute. People have got to start cutting out the toxicity out of their lives. Because in case we haven't took a nice little look around, to me, it seems like the world is not getting 100% better, but we dipping into some really dark days just in society and where things are going. So it's really just dependent on us as individuals to really want to get ourselves healthy. Because when we start doing that, we break away from the negativeness that's going on in the world, and then we also inspire other people to get healthy, and that's how you turn things around. Can't be a part of the solution if you're part of the problem.
If you're part of the problem.
Okay.
That's right there.
Right. And so also remember, nothing can get better in your relationship if your partner does not know that there is anything wrong.
Communication.
If you can improve your communication skills between the two of you, you will each be the support for each other's needs. If you learn to improve that. Okay? It helps to grow love between partners. Ooh, they ain't gonna like this one. I'm gonna put it out there anyway.
We gotta keep it real. Keep it real with them.
This is cliche, and I put it in there. Don't you laugh. Don't nobody laugh.
You know I'm gonna laugh. You know I'm gonna laugh.
But love is like a flower, so you must water it. It's a cliche. I don't care. My husband just said that's terrible.
I was gonna let it fly. Come on, bro. I was gonna let it fly. Yo, what?
But it's a simple analogy for people to understand. I ain't gonna have y'all out here doing me like this today.
Yo, my opinion, somebody told me that. I'm sorry. Somebody told me that love is like a flower. You have to water it. This is my favorite.
Look, it's simple. It's simple, and I'm gonna take my cliche and ride with it.
I'm just playing. Yeah, I'm joking. You good?
So look at it like this: when we let our communication get stale, our love can suffer from a lack of nourishment.
She loves it. She says she loves it.
See, I appreciate you because I love it too. It was simple and easy. I think it's just sometimes men don't want to get in touch with their little vulnerable side, but we working on that.
It's right there. We got it. Hold up. It almost caught me. It almost touched me. Wait a minute.
So we cannot truly have the intimacy that we desire in our relationship without communication. You got to communicate. We cannot expect to continue earning love from someone if we stop communicating entirely with them. Okay, so that's kind of like the ghosting thing. Somebody ghosts you in your dating process. Hey, they stop communicating.
Right.
Cut them off. They can't. I mean, where does it go? Where does it go if someone doesn't want to communicate with you?
Right.
Where does it go? Okay. Right. Also, sometimes the love in the relationship just dies. And there's nothing that you can do to revive. Sometimes the reality is that relationships run their course. And some people have to be okay with understanding that all relationships are not going to be for life. Some friendships are not for life. Relationships, romantic relationships are not for life. Some things just you've done and given everything that you can, and sometimes it just divides. So you got to also accept that fact too. And sometimes it's just not going to produce or be as long term as you'd like it to be. Doesn't mean that you're a bad person or it didn't work. Just didn't work out. I don't know why I put that in there, but I guess but I really want to emphasize that for people. Like, I'm giving you tools, but everybody's not going to be a perfect match. And everyone that you may find someone that you really click with, there may be drastic things on down the road that maybe sever that relationship. But But the point of this is to go into everything healthy with a clear mind and a clear heart and, you know, a great understanding of who you are and where you stand.
Right.
And what you will and will not tolerate or deal with. Okay, that's what this is about.
Right.
But more often than not, when we're missing honest communication, we seem to forget that communicating and the building off of is the key that helps us to be open to falling in love in the first place.
Okay.
You have to be able to remind each other of why it was that you fell in love. This is for my long-term couples or people that have been together for a couple of years.
Right.
Communicating and talking is what opens that door. That's why when we brought up the dating phase about what it is that you should be doing in that process.
Right.
I'm going to get more into the dating phase in the next, I think it's the next 2 episodes, if I'm correct. But when you're talking and you're, you know, you're just learning about each other, you're laughing. This is intimacy at its finest. This is where intimacy comes from. This is why we open ourselves up to loving that person. We get to hear them and see them, and then we get to see follow through, and we get to see all these amazing things that start with the communication.
Right.
That open us up to saying, I really do want to let myself just, you know.
Let my guard down with you. I might take a chance on you. You ain't, you know, you're all right. You might see something that might hit your butt, hit you in the right place. You know, I wasn't thinking about it, but I'm feeling all right today.
You know why I say it's so important to have that balance of a friendship in your relationship is because it makes conversation flow so much easier.
Say that again. Say that again.
It's so important to have that friendship element in your relationship because it makes conversation flow so much easier. I was friends with my husband for months before, you know, we got together. But we would sit outside in the desert under the stars and just talk for hours, smoke cigarettes and talk for hours. I mean, we talk until like 2, 3 in the morning and be like, oh man, we gotta go to bed. We gotta get up and go do PT in the morning. But I learned so much about who he was. Courtship. Yes, ma'am. Courtship and learning about who he was and what we had in common and where we came from and funny stories. And then it starts to get, you know, you start talking about things that are more personal and things that are deeper as you're building that layer. And the next thing you know, you're just like, man, this person is so perfect for me. They're perfect for me. There's nothing to taint them. You're just being open and honest and just really getting to know somebody. The problem is we put too many barriers in between really trying to get to know somebody. But we'll get into that in the next episode because it's a part of sex, love, and intimacy.
Right.
But understand that this is where your connection really falls, is in the communication aspect. Okay? You've got to understand that this is the key to it all.
Right.
And it remains the key for the rest of your life. Okay? It remains the key on your job. When somebody's stressing you out, you need to communicate with your boss. Right. Or you need to communicate with coworkers. Or maybe you work a customer service job and you got to communicate with these, you know, these customers, these clients. So we're constantly using our mouthpiece. Right. And some areas we're really effectively great at communicating. And then there are some areas in certain relationships that we're not good at effectively communicating. Right.
Let me ask you a question real quick. So when it comes to the communication, right? Some people, right, they don't mind subsurface level conversation. But when it comes to like deep stuff, like, yo, tell me about your past, tell me about your family, stuff like guards come up. Like we can talk subsurface level, like, yo, oh, how was the day? Bop, 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 normal talk. But it's like, why do people, is that like a guard, or is it like an insecurity? Why do some people, they guard their, like, their conversation is like limited to like fluff stuff? It's like, yo, where it's like you can't build if it's superficial or subsurface level. You know what I mean? But it's like, what is that from? Like, why is that like the trauma from the past, or is like they guard it? Like,
it can be trauma. It can be trauma that they're afraid to be seen. And the fear of being seen has nothing to do with you, but everything to do with them. Because they don't trust you enough.
Oh, they don't trust me. That's what that means.
And sometimes they don't trust anybody enough. So you know what I'm saying? To share that layer of depth with them. But that's something they haven't continued to work through yet in order to feel safe enough to give people an opportunity to see them. Sometimes people are afraid that their trauma is so bad that they're going to be rejected because they still carry guilt and shame from that trauma. So they don't even know how to not have that emotion attached to it, let alone let somebody else in on that. And then sometimes you just got some people who really just don't see you as the fit for wanting to let you into their lives in that capacity.
Right.
And then that becomes, something that you have to address. I see that you got intimate relationships with other people, because intimacy is really the state of knowing someone very well and on a deeper level. So they may have intimate, healthy, relationships with others, but they just don't have it with you. That's a question to say, okay, well, why are you able to have those with them, but not with me? Right. And this is really important, if our relationship is going to progress. So there's a way of being able to communicate with someone about why it is that you need to be connected to them in order to have a deeper level of a relationship. And if they're not ready to do that, then they haven't gotten over things that are going on in their lives, right, so that they can be healthy to have those relationships that they desire. Right. Because nobody can have a superficial relationship and think that that's going to lead to anything that's going to be long term. It may present itself having the ability to do so, but when it comes time to actually put the work in, it won't sustain.
Right. Let me throw some fire on it right quick. Let's double that stakes, right? So what about those people, right, that be in relationships, but you don't talk to me like you talk to them? We ain't as close as you and such and such. What about those people? What is that from?
I think that's something that a partner really needs to communicate what they mean by that. In what aspect? What do they feel like the other person is getting out of you that they're not getting? And then give you an opportunity to respond about maybe what hindrances you're having in doing so, or maybe reiterating to them that they don't know, more than this person, and this is why, or maybe you see it on this level, but your perception is off. Really having a conversation about that. Because you have to communicate to avoid the misunderstanding, to clarify anything that needs to be clarified, and so forth. So really, that's an opportunity to clear up what may be perceiving as miscommunication for them.
Open dialogue, that's real.
And then the last one is, it's great for your mood.
Asking the right keys, asking the right questions.
Asking the right questions is always key. She said that. But it's also great for our mood. Right. Okay, the greatest gift in any relationship is being able to express your genuine happiness with them. When we are genuinely happy and have a partner with whom our communication is sound, our happiness can be like an echo chamber. When you're honest and joyful about things in your life, that honest communication allows you to express your feelings, your feelings and your emotions honestly. And when we do that, the elation feeds into us, and it also feeds into our partners. Right. Sharing your happiness with someone openly sets a mood of happiness that helps to create more of the same. This is the healthier way to process our emotions and feelings, and is a natural booster for any relationship. Okay. And so there's a 2-part homework assignment to this. Okay. So we just finished the first part. Okay. And I know is why communication is the most imperative aspect of a relationship. So that's the first part that we just finished. And so our homework assignment, if my computer would like to function at this moment, is how do you rate your communication currently between you and your partner? And do you feel there is room for improvement in those 7 areas? Where is that improvement fall for you? Okay. And if so, who does the improvement need to, who needs to improve? You or them or both?
Right.
And which of the 7 steps are you currently struggling with? So I kind of asked that earlier. So I said, so I'll reread it to make sure that it makes sense. Okay. How do you rate the current communication between you and your partner? Do you feel there's room for improvement? And if so, on whose end? Yours, theirs, or both? Which of the 7 steps are you currently struggling with? Struggling with the most.
Right.
But if you can rate them, that would be better. So start with, say you're struggling with number 3. Give it the highest rating. So when I say highest rating, we prioritize from 1 to 10.
Okay.
So where does that fall for you? Really go through those things and really be honest about it. You know what I'm saying? And give it an honest rating. If you're single and you're not in a relationship, you need to ask yourself, how do you communicate with others? Yes. Yes, you do the homework for yourself. Yes, ma'am. So you're going to rate the communication that you've had in past relationships. Think about your past relationship. How would you rate those communication levels?
I'm a new brother today. Why do you want to take me back to my past? I'm a new brother today. My communication is better.
Because I want to make sure that you're making growth moving forward in your next relationship.
Gotcha.
So you're going to rate how the communication has been in the past.
Okay.
And then where do you feel like the breakdowns in those relationships were? Do it generalized. What was the breakdown? Whose end did it fall on? Was it sometimes yours? Was it sometimes theirs? Was it both of you guys? And then out of those 7 steps, where would you rate? See if you can see a consistent pattern in your order of priority. Was number 3 the constant repetitiveness of being number 1 in all of your relationships in the past? Or was it number 4? Or number 5 was maybe, number 2? Really see, so that way you can kind of gauge, okay, this is where I've had breakdowns in the past. Right. This is what I need to work on moving forward. Because it's just to give you a guide. I really want you to do the homework so that you can really see yourself and really see, okay, what's going on? Right. How do I fix this thing? Because I got solutions for you, but I need you to do the homework. Right. Once all the homework is done, you're going to see this cool little thing come together. So if you haven't watched part 1 or 2, please go ahead and do that so you can catch up on your homework assignments, okay? Right. All right. I know that we are going on our 2-hour mark. Right. We're gonna try to pick up this thing, okay? Because I really want to make sure I give you guys all this information, because we're doing it now. So bear with me, but we're gonna get through it. But what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna talk about the 5 communication styles. 4. I included 5, but I took 5 out, and that just really because I don't want to confuse you guys. There's really 4 major communication styles. I want you to focus on the 4 common ones. And then maybe later on in another time, I can give you an introduction to the 5th one. But the 5th one is kind of like not a standard rule in the world of psychology or any other study. We focus on 4, okay? So you need to understand where you communicate at. Be honest with yourself as we go through these. Okay? Everybody in the comments, you can say, okay, I just need you to be honest with yourself about where you've been, where you're trying to be,
I'm about to put them up. I'm putting them up as we go.
Okay.
The 7 steps. The 7 steps is. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me pull the 7 steps up right quick. I was about to
Can
do
you
the
post that?
communication.
Are you able to post it?
I'll put them in the comments. Miss Maxine, I'll put them in the comments as we go on. I'm gonna do the actual right now, the different communication steps, but I add that too.
Okay. Okay. So I want everybody to be honest with themselves about this, okay? So communication styles. What we're doing is we're going to identify your current communication style. A communication style is the way you interact or exchange information with each other. Okay? A communication style is not just about the words we use. It also includes our facial expressions, our body language, and may have a deeper meaning or intention behind our words. Okay. Behind our words. And it can have a huge impact on the quality of our relationship. You want me to wait for you, son?
Nah, you good. No. I didn't want to slow it down. You good. No.
Okay. So can have a huge impact on our quality of our relationships. Most people will use all 5 communication styles at some point in their lives, depending on situation. But each person has a primary style that one uses to communicate most of the time. Your primary communication style is based on your childhood and cultural influences. Understand that again. Your primary style of communication is based on your childhood and cultural influences. It is important to not only identify your primary communication style, but also learn to identify the styles of other people around you. This helps to identify communication barriers and identify the various elements that are keeping you from having healthy dialogue with others that ultimately leads to a healthier, happier relationship. Okay? Or relationships, as I should say.
We good?
Okay, we good?
Yeah. I'm gonna put it after because there's a lot to break down, and I don't want them to mix up that with the communication styles.
Okay.
I got number 1 queued up already. That's what I'm waiting. I got number 1 for the communication styles, but I put the 7 steps, and I inbox it to her as well. Miss Maxine, I inbox it to you. There's a bunch of information in that on the 7 steps.
Okay. So the first one is passive communication. Passive communication is a style that individuals have developed a pattern of avoiding in how they express themselves, okay? A pattern of avoiding expressing their opinions or feelings, protecting their rights, and identifying and meeting their needs, okay? So a passive person does not overly respond to hurtful or anger-inducing situations. Anger-inducing or hurtful situations. Instead, they allow grievances and annoyances to mount, usually unaware of buildup, but once they have reached their high tolerance threshold of unacceptable behavior, they are prone to explosive outbursts, which are usually apportioned to the triggering incident. After the outburst, however, they may feel shame or guilt or confusion, so they return back to being passive. Passive people, I like to say, a lot of times, passive people kind of fit along the guideline of people that really lack a healthy identity. These are the people that are your yes people. These are the people that don't have any idea of what they like, who they are, where they're going, but they're your yes people. Yes, everything. Anything you like, everything you want to do, everything that's cool. They kind of just play the background.
Right.
But slowly they'll build resentment and anger because they don't feel like they're being seen. They're not really feeling like they're being heard. Their needs aren't being met, but they really don't know how to communicate that. They really want you to know, but they don't have it. They don't communicate it well. Right. So when something does trigger them, they're going to blow up. They're going to pour it all on you. And then they're going to go back to being passive. They're going to feel really bad about that. I'm sorry that I did that. I shouldn't have done that. You know, that's how passive people kind of navigate. Okay. So passive communicators will often fail to assert themselves, allow others to deliberately or inadvertently infringe on their rights. So say they don't want to do something. Oh, they're going to let that person kind of coax them and make them feel like, you know, they got to do it. So they just kind of give up their ability for their own right, their own privacy. They'll give it up.
You said?
Yeah, I think I don't know. My mic had froze up for some reason. I had to figure out how to mute the button. They also fail to express their feelings, needs, or opinions. They tend to speak softly or apologetically, exhibit poor eye contact, and they have bad posture, as I like to call it, slump posture. Okay. The pattern of the impact of pattern of communication, passive communication, is that these individuals often feel anxious because life seems out of control for them. They often feel depressed because they feel stuck or they feel hopeless. Often feel resentful, but are often unaware of it because their own needs are not being met. Often feel confused because they ignore their own feelings. Are unable to mature because real issues are never addressed for them. A passive communicator will say, believe, or behave like. So if you want, what we can do is, if you guys want copies of tonight's layout, if you inbox one of us on Facebook and Messenger, we can get them emailed out to you if you want a copy of the layout. Right. Of the actual of what the handout. If you would like a copy of that, please either DM Scion or myself, and we can get and if you just put your email address in there, we can get that emailed over to you. Okay. Okay. That'll work. That way they can have the whole thing. Right. The whole. And I haven't really thought, and I apologize, I haven't even thought about those for the last couple of episodes, but that may be something that we can go ahead and do, just so that you'll have it and you'll always have it as a reference if you need it as well. Right. So a passive communicator will say or behave like this: I'm unable to stand up for my rights. I don't know what my rights are. I get stepped on by everyone. I'm weak and I'm unable to take care of myself, and people never consider my feelings. Right. That's a passive communicator. Okay. Right. So you got to watch out for people that are passive, because passive people, it's not a healthy situation. It's not a healthy situation for them. And normally, if you can see somebody really going through behaving this kind of way, I would really recommend, really trying to, talk to them into maybe going and talking to somebody if they're open to it. Because there's usually some kind of trauma or something built up that has made their voice just really small and just really shrunk and just really unaware of what's going on and why they're just letting other people take advantage of them. Right. These are the people that, like they said, I'm always getting stepped on, and I never stand up for myself. There's a reason for that. They feel small. And a lot of times there's trauma behind that.
Right.
Passive is very different than passive aggressive.
Yeah, that's different.
Passive aggressive people,
That's different.
they special. And we're actually going to talk about the aggressive communication style next. Okay. Aggressive communication style, this individual expresses their feelings and their opinions and advocates for their needs in a way that violates others. Thus, aggressive communicators are verbally and or physically abusive. Okay? Aggressive communicators will often try to dominate others, use humiliation to control others, criticize, blame, or attack others, be very impulsive, have low frustration tolerance, speak in a loud, demanding, and overbearing voice, act threatening or rudely, will not listen to you very well, will interrupt you frequently, use you statements, have an overbearing or intimidating posture. Everybody has known someone who is an aggressive communicator. I can dang on guarantee everybody's had their fair share with an aggressive communicator. The impact of a pattern of aggressive communication is that these individuals become alienated from others, alienate others, generate fear and hatred in others, always blame others instead of blaming themselves for their own issues.
Right.
Thus, it makes them very difficult for them to mature. So they never take responsibility.
As long as somebody else.
And the aggressive communicator will say, believe, or behave like, I'm superior, I'm right, and I'm inferior, and you're wrong. I'm loud, I'm bossy and pushy. I can dominate and intimidate you. I can violate your rights. I can get my way no matter what. You're not worth anything. It's your fault. I act instantly. I'm entitled. You owe me, and I own you. That's how they talk. That's how they behave. That's how they act. And posture with this is very important. So if you notice, they kind of give you these clues when they talk about passive, right? Their voices are very low. They're very meek. They're very mild. Your aggressor is going to be very loud, very boisterous. The tone, the energy, because you're not just looking at communication as the words that are coming out their mouth. It's going to be how it's coming out. It's going to have that tone. It's going to have the posture that's going to be attached to it. It's going to be the body language that is attached to that. So if you rolling your eyes, you neck rolling and all of this, and your hands is waving in the air, that's aggressive. Right. Everybody in bed with somebody that right there. Like, let me tell you what's about to go down right there. Right. Because I know he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even for guys can get real like, man, I can't believe, it's aggressive. The tone, the energy changes. You can feel it. It's thick. Aggressive communication is not a healthy style of communication. And for a lot of people, believe it or not, this is one of the most common communication styles that we see today. A lot of people are very aggressive, and believe it or not, we see it more commonly now in women than anything else.
Right. You gotta speak it.
Look, right, so we'll go with that. We'll go with that. All aggressive. But I've seen it. Girls have kind of changed. Women have started to change the role. Women have become more pursuers, more aggressors in relationship, where men have taken more of a meek back, I've seen. Or, the woman is overly aggressive and the man naturally matches that energy, and now they're just in an aggressive household.
It's toxic. It's time to go.
Or you get women that are aggressive, and then once they kind of establish the relationship dominance, now they want the man to come in and take over that dominance once you've already been the aggressor. Doesn't work like that. You set the tone for the relationship, how you come into it. That's why it's important to have yourself together before you go into the relationship.
Right.
Because you've already set tones. You've already set foundation. You've already done that. They don't start over because ain't no get backs. Now you can try to repair something, but know that this is where it is.
Right.
Okay. Passive aggressive communication is a style in which individuals appear passive on the surface, but are really acting out in anger subtly, indirect, and in the behind the scenes kind of way. People who develop a pattern of passive aggressive communication usually feel powerless, stuck, and resentful. In other words, they feel incapable of dealing directly with the object of their resentment. Instead, they express their anger by subtly undermining the object or real or imagined of their resentment. I used to work with someone that was passive aggressive. Can't stand passive aggressive people. And I know I shouldn't say that on camera, but I really have a hard time with passive aggressive people.
Right.
Because it's just, I'm gonna let it speak for itself before I comment.
Right.
Passive aggressive communicators will often mutter to themselves rather than confront the person or the issue, have difficulty acknowledging their own anger, use facial expressions that don't match how they feel. For example, they're smiling when they're angry. They use sarcasm. They deny that there's ever a problem. They appear cooperative while purposely doing things to annoy and disrupt.
Right.
They use subtle sabotage to get even. The impact of passive aggressive communication is that these individuals become alienated from those around them. They remain stuck in a position of powerlessness, like a POW, like a prisoner of war. They just are powerless. And they're stuck in that position. They discharge resentment while real issues never get addressed, so they cannot mature. The passive aggressive communicator will say they believe or behave like, I'm weak and resentful, so I sabotage, frustrate, and disrupt. I'm powerless to deal with you head on, so I must use guerrilla warfare.
Right.
I will appear cooperative, but I'm not.
Right.
That is a passive aggressive person. Oh, if you've ever known one, it is like, and you know that they're doing it on purpose.
Nice,
like you know that they're going out their way to do it.
Right. Nice, nasty type.
Oh, I used to work with a girl that was passive aggressive. Let me tell you, honey. She would try to do things like she'll take a subtle jab, and then she'll smile, and then she'll, mutter in her breath, like, oh, but do you guys want to go to lunch? Like, no. Ma'am, I got a bug in my leg. It's just a dry patch in my throat. It just bothered me all of a sudden. But yeah, honey, she was the worst. And I mean, it was like every day. She'd come in, she wouldn't speak to nobody, and they'd be like, oh, so nobody was going to say good morning? Like, nobody's going to speak?
Right.
Oh, I just wanted to, it just used to like really just drive me crazy. But passive aggressive is like one of those ones that you just, boy, they are very cognitively aware of what it is that they're doing. They know that they're doing it, and it's not healthy. So they just then took passive and aggressive and merged them two right on together. So I'm weak, but now I'm going to sabotage you. Right. So it's kind of like that. It's like a sneaky kind of communication style.
Right.
It's a sneaky behavior that's attached to that.
Right.
I'm going to play the victim. I'm going to play weak, but behind your back, right, it's going down for real. Like, that's that type.
Right. Like false humility and stuff like that.
Yeah. These are the people that talk about you behind your back, that'll smile in your face. Um, yes, yes, yes. Watch out for the passive aggressive communicators. Like, this is not a healthy relationship. They're not really healthy mentally or emotionally. There's some things that are going on that they need to get worked out. Communication styles tell you a lot about a personality, about a character. You got to watch for these things because it's just letting you know that they're not in a healthy spot. There's something that's keeping them from being in a healthy spot. Even your aggressors. Why are women so, the women that I've encountered that are very aggressive? Why is that? Were they in abusive relationships where maybe they felt powerless? So now they feel that they have power. They need to exercise that because intimidation is used to make others let others know that you're not weak.
Right.
So you got to look at these things and say, okay, why is this the communication pattern that someone's choosing to use? What's really going on behind the scenes that I need to know more about? Or I'm not paying attention to, or if you're in a long-term relationship with someone who's exhibiting some of these these communication patterns, why? What can we do? What can you do to encourage, to promote a healthier communication style? And the actual communication style that everyone should adopt and should have considered healthy is assertive. Assertive is a style which individuals clearly state their opinions, their feelings, and firmly advocate for their own rights and their needs without violating the rights of others. These individuals value themselves, their time, their emotional, spiritual, and physical needs, and are strong advocates for themselves while being respectful of the rights of others. Okay? This is the healthiest state of communication you can be. Assertive communicators will A, state their needs, wants clearly, appropriately, and respectfully. They will express feelings clearly, appropriately, and respectfully. Use I statements. Communicate respect for others. Listen well without interrupting. Feel in self-control. Have good eye contact. Speak in a calm and clear tone of voice. Have relaxed body posture. Feel connected to others. Feel competent and in control. Not allow others to abuse or manipulate them, and will stand up for their rights. Okay? The impact pattern of assertive communication is that of these individuals. They feel connected with others. They feel in control of their lives. Right. They are able to mature because they are able to address issues and problems as they arise. These are the people that don't sweep things under the rug. We're going to address it. Create a respectful environment for others to mature and grow. I'm not suffocating you. We're building trust. We're able to communicate effectively. And I'm willing to, hey, I'm willing to let you have your moment. I'm willing to let you shine. I'm willing to let you grow. I want to be there, support you for those things, right? Assertive communicators will say, believe, and behave in these kind of ways. We are equally entitled to express ourselves respectfully to one another. I am confident about who I am. I realize I have choices in my life, and I consider all my options. I speak clearly, honestly, and get to the point. I can't control others, but I can control myself.
Right.
I place a high priority on having my rights respected. I am responsible for getting my needs met in a respectful manner. I respect the rights of others. Nobody owes me anything unless they've agreed to give it to me. And I'm 100% responsible for my own happiness.
100% responsible. I'm responsible for my happiness.
Right. Assertiveness allows us to take care of ourselves and is fundamentally for the good of our mental health and our healthiness of our relationships. It is possible, if people need to, You can gain this communication style by going through a communication course that you can do with your therapist, and it also requires a lot of practice. To move on to a less healthy communication style and become more assertive is the most ideal. But the first step is awareness. You have to have the awareness of where you fall. Okay, so I know that this is a lot. I just want to point out to everybody that I know this is a lot. I'm going to get this sent over to you. We'll get it sent over to you guys. We'll make it available to you. I really want you to really take an opportunity and think about those things. And I think most people will need this even if they watch it later and they, send us a DM or whatever, we can still send it out. I want to do some couple tweaks to it though before we send it, if that's okay. So just bear with us on that, but we will get it out to you tonight. If you request it tonight, I can get it out to you tonight. Really look at your communication. Again, if you're single and you're by yourself, really look at where your communication is. Really think about that. The homework assignment is, can you identify your primary communication style? Be honest with yourself. What positive and negative traits of each style are present in you? And how has this impacted your relationships with others? Now, understand, I wasn't always an assertive communicator. I used to be an aggressive style communicator. I think sometimes, every once in a while, depending on the situation, because I want you to understand, situations cause us to arise and react differently from time to time. Right. There are situations that present themselves where I will find myself more aggressive. But I have to check myself on that too. Or if it's something that, somebody else will see, but hey, and I might have to check myself to have somebody else be like, hey, and they're checking me, and then I can go check myself. Right. But we need to identify why we're coming out of character. That's the biggest point. Because if you look back at it, and a certain person says, I can't control others, but I can control myself. That is the number one thing that we should be able to have in a relationship with other people. Right. When we're communicating with people, we should be able to control us. Sometimes they're going to say things, and people will stop telling you things based on how you respond. Right. Some people just like, okay, I'm not going to say nothing. And they don't want to build trust, and they don't want to tell you. Just they can't take how you're going to respond. But this is where the assertive person has to remind themselves that I can't control them. I can control me, and I still have to be honest, and I still have to do my part of my happiness and my growth and the things that are going to be betterment for me. And I got to be honest, and I can't sit here and lie to nobody else or not be honest with you about things because it's going to make you uncomfortable. Your uncomfortability has everything to do with you and nothing to do with me. So I want everybody to really think about this. Think about the 7 steps for a healthy relationship. I know I kept y'all late tonight. Okay. I know we kept y'all late tonight, but I really want you to think about those 7 steps. If you do the homework, assignments, I'm telling you, you will learn something about yourself. And even if you're married, if you can get your partner to do it by themselves. If you both will openly do this, or if you're in a long-term relationship or you're just in a relationship, if you can each do the assignment dolo, see where your perspectives are at. It gives you something to talk about. It opens the door for open communication. Now, unless you're in a situation with someone who's abusive, who's very aggressive, that may be something that you need to do in the confinements of an actual therapist. Sometimes some people need mediators. in order to be able to have successful, healthy resolution. So I just want to point that out. But I definitely think that you guys should really just, I hope you learned something.
A lot. I'm trying to put the steps in now, but we're gonna send it out anyway. But I was
Yeah.
sitting there trying to get them. But yeah, it's a lot.
So what I want is, I know people can play this back, and I know it's a lot of information. And the wonderful thing about YouTube and all the wonderfulness is, not only do you get to catch it live, but you can also go back and watch it. Or for those who aren't able to watch it, can go back and watch it later. But what we could do, we have to post comments while it's live, right?
We can put it later. I can put them in the comments after the fact.
Okay.
But if only the people that watch it later will see it. But the people that's in here now won't see it.
Okay. So again, send us, DM us, send us your email, because we can't send it through Facebook. We tried to do that with each other earlier, through Messenger, so we know that the file's too big. Right. So this is something that's going to have to get emailed to you. So if you just send us a DM, it doesn't matter if it's me or if it's Sai, just send us a DM with your email so that we can go ahead and send you out a copy. You'll have the entire thing that we had, that we looked at, our layout, our outline for today's session. You'll have that so that you can actually go back and reference it while you're doing your homework assignment. You can add it to your reference packet. And like I said, maybe that's something that we can do moving forward, is I can come out with a layout, outline layout to give to the audience if that's something that they want, and we can make sure that it's available and ready. So we can make sure that, we can just, I'm not doing this with you today.
Wow. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
No, I really do believe in the health of people. I believe in that more than anything. I know I grew up, I know a lot of dysfunctional people. I've worked with but I believe that in order for us to get better at things, we got to meet people where they are. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, but I believe the most important aspect of any kind of education is psychoeducation. And sometimes before people will run to a therapist and see us behind closed doors, they really need to be educated on mental health and just different aspects of that. And so I find that I enjoy the psychoeducation the most because it's an opportunity to open the eyes of people, for them to be able to see that maybe there is something wrong, be relatable. And that's the one thing too, is you got to be relatable. You got to be willing to admit that you've been there. Right. You've got to be willing to acknowledge that we're all not perfect, and we're not going to get it overnight. Right. But we just got to be real with each other. And we got to not be afraid to let people know that sometimes, hey, you got to get out of some things. And I think right now, with the relationship market being as big as it is, and I hate to say it like that, there's a lot of misinformation. Right. I won't destroy Derek Jackson for some of the people that really like Derek Jackson.
That's it. He's off limits. Him and Kevin Samuels, they are off limits on this platform. I'm joking. I will say this. I think that he had very good opinions. Right. He didn't do a lot of fact-based things. And when you put yourself on that kind of pedestal and you're not honest about where you really are, what you really stand, because you're pretending to be somebody that you're not, and you're preying on the vulnerability of people wanting to get better, I felt like he didn't offer a lot of solutions. Right. I don't know. I don't feel like there was any tangible solution that really could have been made into step form for people to really accomplish what they wanted to accomplish for long lasting change. Right. And I don't support that.
what I do support is an opportunity for people to get the change that they need with the step process to make it happen. An opportunity for you to have self-reflection and to be able to see yourself and to be able to see where you need to grow at. That is the ability to make effective change. I can tell you something all day, but if you are able to actually exercise it and do the process, then, I'm blowing air. So that's why I give out homework assignments and, encourage you to do those. Now, whether or not you do those is on you. But if you do them and you do them accurately and appropriately, you will learn something. And that's the goal. Each one teach one. And hopefully somebody else will be inspired enough to teach somebody else. So I know that it's a lot of information. I wish I had more time because I really wanted to kind of get more into it. But I feel like the communication aspect, the way I bulleted this, and I know Sai can look at it the way I bulleted the outline, I feel like it's very self-explanatory.
Right.
I feel like it's very clear, it's very cut. If you have questions, you have comments, you have concerns, you can DM me offline. We can have a conversation. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to do, let me know. I'm here. I don't believe in putting myself on a platform to want to help and not make myself available to help. So if you need me or you need a question, you want to talk, let me know. And also, if you're new and I haven't seen you in the comments before, you will receive a personal thank you follow-up from me. So don't just know that you'll be looking for that within the next day or two, okay? Because I really do appreciate people coming out and just being a part of being a part of the process, being a part of the solution, growing with us, and also give us information that you have too. I always want to make that open. This is the platform where we share perspectives. And, if you got information that I don't have or he doesn't have, share it with us. Me and Sai, we want to know too. Right. We're open. This is a platform about sharing perspectives and really growing together and how we can get better in all aspects. So I'm open to all levels of information and just having a conversation. And Devarius, I need you to get your life together. Call me offline. I see we got some individual work we got to do. He's falling apart over there.
I love it though. It's real life, yo. And everybody wants love, yo. It don't matter who they are, people, how tough they try to front. We were made to love someone. So it's like no matter what level, right?
No, go ahead.
And I was gonna say, because you're touching it on so many levels, whether it's the person that's coming out of a relationship and they're in the rebuild or restore mode, they get repaired, they're healing. Then you might have the people that's starting out fresh. You're giving them the foundation, like this is how you this is how you have a healthy relationship. This is how you make it 11 years. This is how you have a long-lasting relationship. Then, like you said, you may be like moderate. They may have been together 5-10 years, but it's like keeping it together. Let's keep that spark. Let's keep that flame. Let's keep our communication. We might be growing in different areas. Let's bring it back in before it gets too far gone. Or like you said, the ones that made it 20-30 years. It's like, okay, boom, this is how we did it. It wasn't always easy. So you're hitting everybody on wherever they level. And that's the thing about it. It's like we can all learn from each other. And it keeps me inspired because it's like, that shows. It's like now when you out here dating or you meeting people now, start implementing this stuff. It's like you don't have to wait 30 days down the road, 90 days down the road. Like, nah, this ain't gonna last. Or no, this is a bad sign. This is a red flag. This ain't gonna fit. So it's like you're going in now, even dating with purpose. You're not just out here shooting the breeze. You're now like, boom, I got my goal in sight. Or I got my sight. I got my goal in mind. I'm working towards that. So it eliminates like, okay, boom, you're not trying to go where I'm trying to go. So that we're not even going to waste our time. You looking for it right now. I'm looking for down the road. We're not even going to do that. So it closes a lot of doors that you don't have to go through and learn the hard way. So it's like the series is definitely needed. And I like the way you're bringing it on everybody's level. You're giving it to them, whether like me, if I'm single, whether you're married, whether you're divorced, whatever the case may be, it's all tools that's going to help you to have a long relationship. And it's like, and even though I joke and laugh, I really take it serious. And I'm definitely like, I'm learning as we go on. I'm just a jokester. So let me put that out there. I'm just a jokester, but it's like when I'm laughing, I'm not laughing at people's pain. I'm normally laughing about something I went through myself,
Right.
or something I seen, or something I can relate to. So it's like to bring that where it's not heavy. I
Right.
bring that into, but it's like, yo, but I love the way you do it because you hit
Oh, thank
everybody
you.
on their level. Yo, that's dope.
Well, I get excited about every week because, and what's crazy is I know, that I could probably do this series about 12 episodes. And I told myself I don't think I don't want to give it all away.
Right.
because those of us who know, secretly know that I've been working on a platform. It
Right.
will be under SDS Radio. So you will get to see much more of, and I have been told that, we have great energy. I said, so there will be many more episodes, where we'll be able to do stuff and collaborate together on so many different things. But this series is near and dear to my heart because I'm blessed.
Good night to you too. Thank you.
Good night, sis. I'm blessed. And I want other people to have what it is that I have. But in order for that to
Thank you.
but in order to have that, you really got to know who you are and where you stand.
Right.
And that is the bottom line. And you can't waver because you're fear of getting older, or you're afraid of. I look at getting older as getting better.
Right.
I wouldn't want to go back. Child, ain't no way. I don't want to ride that train. I like right where I'm at. Right where I'm at. So, but it's near and dear to my heart because I really want people to have what it is that they seek.
Right.
But really take a look at why they're not obtaining that. So I'm really just excited. Now, next episode, sex, love, and intimacy. Get your mind right.
Sex, love, and intimacy.
And I'm very excited about this episode. I'm very, very excited about this episode. So get your grown folk together. Get your grown folk on for this. Cause it's gonna be different. And you know me, I don't like to hold no punches.
Right.
So we finna get into it. Right. And also one of the episodes closer to the end of our wrapping, we're gonna be talking about dating etiquette. Wow. So we got some stuff coming up. I'm excited. But we gotta get the foundations down. And this is where we fall with the foundations down. Is the standards, the boundaries, the communication. These last two episodes were the most important because it's the foundation of you. Thank you. So I look forward to sex, love, and intimacy next week, as I hope y'all look forward to sex, love, and intimacy next week.
Love and intimacy. I'm gonna be smiling all week just thinking about what am I gonna learn about sex, love, and intimacy to add to my tool belt. So when I find my good thing,
I was gonna try to see if we could get a surprise guest to pop in on the show and maybe make a little appearance. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what we can do. Right. See if we can get him to pop in on there. All right. See if he's gonna give us a little 1-2.
All right, yo, get us right. So when I get my boo thing, I can enjoy my sex, love, and intimacy with her.
But see, sex, love, and intimacy is gonna blow people's mind because it's gonna be a little bit. I'm gonna let people think about it, but I ain't gonna tell y'all what it is. But it ain't gonna line up like you think it's gonna line up, because there's a difference between sex, love, and intimacy.
See, you're blowing my mind.
It's gonna be good.
See, that's when I got to graduate to that level, because I'm sitting here looking at it the wrong way. So I already know it's growth for me right there. It's different. Sex, love, and intimacy. So that's three different levels to this thing.
But they go together from time to time, but sometimes they don't.
See, I got a lot to
So
learn.
it's all in the context of how you do it. See, that's what I'm talking about, Max. You know, you gonna come back next week and join us at 7.
I got a lot to learn then, but it's gonna
It's gonna
benefit me in the long run. It's gonna benefit
oh,
me.
it's gonna be
Healthy
great.
relationship. Yeah, I'm definitely.
Yeah, man. And I'm telling you, and when you get into that next relationship, you gonna feel a whole lot better and a whole lot healthier going into it. You're not gonna go into it feeling like you second guessing or you wondering if the couple little qualities that you found, if that's gonna be enough, or are we gonna make it like this? And no, you're gonna go into that feeling comfortable and confident and building trust and feeling whole. And know that you're a complete individual, and that individual is a complete individual that brings something to a table that's going to flourish as a unit.
Right. If not, they gotta go. I got my standards. I got my standards up, and I'm not gonna bring them down for nobody.
Don't bring them down for nobody.
I cut you off.
Yeah, you have to cut them out. Gotta cut them out. Gotta let it go.
All right now, but
Gotta go.
We got.
We're not wavering this year.
We can't.
We getting ready to go into 2022. We ain't gonna fake it till we make it. We're not doing that. We're gonna be real about where we are, what we got going on, where we're trying to get to, and we're gonna be real. We're gonna rock that out, and that's what it's gonna be.
Definitely excited. Definitely excited and looking forward to it. Yeah, definitely. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to say thank you and to salute to everybody for coming out tonight and rocking with us for a couple hours. And we enjoy y'all. If you didn't get a chance to catch it, or you had to break up, hopefully you come back to it. Share it if you know somebody that this would benefit. I'm just excited for the love, and I appreciate everybody coming out and being supportive. And me and Sai, see y'all next week.
All right, yeah. She said she'll be back next week. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. I can't wait for you to come out.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a blessed week. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the relationship series. We love y'all. Thank you.